Welcome to the Cattlemen. I'm your host, Seth King. Um, Pretty excited to be sitting down tonight with Grimes Hoosier Highland Farm. This has kind of been a long awaited podcast that we've jumped a few hurdles to get here tonight, and it's actually kind of late, even later for them. So, guys, thank you for sitting down with us tonight. We do have Jason Grimes and his daughter Claire. And Crystal is going to be the voice of knowledge and wisdom off to the side, if she wants to add anything, if she wants to add anything in. So thanks, guys, for sitting down with us tonight. So you guys are Grimes Hoosier Highland Farm. You're out of Waynetown, Indiana, correct? I think I got that right.
Yep.
And you guys have had Highlands for a while. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about what you guys are doing and kind of what direction you're going with your Highlands?
Yeah, we started out, we had a Angus commercial Angus cross, and we were raising them mostly for beef sales. And Claire and Crystal asked for a long time to bring some Highlands home, and they finally convinced me. And the rest is kind of history. I ended up falling in love with them. We got out of the Angus cattle game, and got into these Highlands, started breeding them. My kids took some interest in showing them, and we went down that rabbit hole. And yeah, the rest is history. We're just trying to raise the best cattle that we can.
That's great. And you have a son, Mason, right? Mason.
Yep.
How old is he?
Mason's 12 and Claire is 16.
Okay. And is Mason also showing?
Mason does show as well. Yep.
Okay,
Both of my
great.
kids are pretty into it.
Great. That's awesome. And I know Claire shows, and we're going to get into that a little bit more here shortly. Um, well, guys, thanks again for taking your time out of your day and sitting down with us and sharing. Now, kind of the main reason that that I reached out to you guys was because I had heard that you got an open Highland show approved at the Indiana State Fair this year. It'd be the inaugural show, the first show ever. Um, and who knows, to my knowledge, it might even be one of the first shows, that big of a show in the area. But I'd like for you guys to tell the listeners a little bit about how you went about doing that, because as we know here in the Midwest, all of our cows are black and they're grain fed, right? Um, a lot of times around feedlots
Yep.
and whatnot. And the only people with the hairy cows are the weird ones down the road that, nobody knows what you're doing. And half the time they think they're miniatures, right? So it's pretty special.
Exactly.
It's pretty special to see you guys doing this here, especially in the Midwest. So kind of walk us through what it took to get this show started. Think of it in a sense of, if somebody else in their area wanted to get a show started, kind of walk us through what that looked like and maybe some of the challenges that you guys ran into.
Okay. Well, I'll start off. The first year that Claire was eligible for 4-H, we wanted to show a Highland, so we went in front of our 4-H board, asking them to open up a class. There was some resistance there,
Because of the horns.
because of the horned cattle thing. We finally convinced them to let us show a Highland. I felt like we were under a microscope that first year. We spent a lot of time making sure that our cows were very calm and didn't respond poorly to the stimuli that were around them. Um, it wasn't very long before that they realized that we probably have the most popular cows at our fair as far as the public goes. And then it just kind of grew into, hey, we'd like to have the opportunity to do this with the 4-Hers at the state level. I wasn't real for sure who else in Indiana would show up for a show like that, but anyway, we reached out to the state fair board and hey, what's it going to take to allow us to show this breed of cattle at the state level? Well, that was probably a 2 to 3 year back and forth. We never really let it go. We were always kind of like the thorn in their side.
Persistent but polite.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to bring a negative energy to the breed. So you don't want them to think that, oh, these Highland people are really pushy, or, so we were persistent, but kind.
So this year they came back to us and they said, hey, we're not gonna let you guys into the 4-H portion of the state fair, but here's what we'll do. We'll offer you a open show and just kind of see what the turnout is like. So we reached out to ACA and asked them about maybe making it a points show for the Role of Excellence Award.
They had a meeting.
They had a meeting and agreed to it.
They actually wrote a letter to our state fair board. The ACA office has been absolutely wonderful with everything that I need, or even if I'm feeling a little frustrated with some of the feedback I'm getting, I can call the office and we can kind of talk it out on how should I handle this. I don't want to say the wrong thing, because we still get a lot of kickback on horns. And they were shocked. We had one of the highest numbers this year in all the open cow breeds. So I don't think they were expecting that. So it's kind of brought them to, hey, maybe we can open this up at the state fair level, because we do have some counties in our state that will not let these kids show their horned cows if it's not at the state level, which I feel is not right.
Yeah, we've kind of taken on the crusade of advocating for any of the other kids in the state that are maybe being told no. We've been told no, and as a parent, that just didn't sit well with us. So yeah, like I said, we had the open show. I think it opened their eyes to how popular the breed is. Like my wife said, we had the second biggest open show at the fair this year. So I think we're making some headway there. If there's any other people from Indiana listening, don't let us be the only one advocating. We could use everybody's help. But
right.
Yeah, I guess my main message is these kids deserve a seat at the table. They work just as hard as anybody else, and they should be recognized for their efforts. 4-H shouldn't be closed to any kid that's willing to put in the work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And if correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are pushing to get a junior show coming up here in the following years as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. The junior part of ACA and just the livestock industry in general is something we're passionate about. I've seen what it does. It teaches our kids a lot of lessons that they can't learn in school, and our kids' friends. I mean, you watch them go from like the third grade age up to where they are now, how much they've grown. And I attribute a lot of that to working with these animals.
Right. I know you guys were out in Denver this year, as were we, and the turnout there for just people coming into the show barn and talking to breeders and looking at the cattle. I mean, it was huge compared to looking across the barn to whatever other breed. Did you guys kind of see that same effect at the Indiana State Fair where people were coming in, talking, looking at the cattle, kind of interacting more?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. And then I know you guys
Yes.
are really
Yeah.
big.
Um,
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that the end of the barn that we were on was close to the they call it the midway. So a lot of the public were coming into the cow barn, and we had a huge crowd around all of the stalls.
And we
We
were right outside the like the beef board's office, which was even like awesome because they when they would come out of their office, they'd see these big crowds around all the Highland cattle. So that was awesome for them to see.
That's super
Yeah,
cool.
we had other breeders come in and talking to us. And the big misconception out there, and I won't get into the controversial part of it, but they like we had a yearling there, and we were getting the so this is as big as they get, right? And I'm like, no, they're not miniatures. They do get bigger, but there is some misconceptions out there about the size of a full grown Highland.
Absolutely. And I know you guys are big for advocating for the breed, and just educating those people that, hey, this animal's cute right now at, 100 pounds, but it's probably gonna get up to about 1,200 by the time it's over, and you're gonna have a big animal with two pointy horns on its head, at the end of the day, and you gotta figure out what you're you gotta be prepared. So I'm thankful for people like
Yeah.
you that are out there advocating and you know educating people because it is a popular breed and we talk about this all the time. Um, and it's really important for for me and I think for a lot of people it's important for the animal because at the end of the day nobody wants to see an animal neglected or just not cared for or passed around. Um, we want people to be well educated and understand what they're getting into, and how to prepare for that. So, yeah, I'm really thankful for you guys and what you're doing. Super important, super important. Um, so moving forward, you guys are going to try to get a junior show, it sounds like, which I'm guessing they're going to welcome you guys with a junior show because, this year went so well. Claire, now Claire, you're an ACA junior. How long have you been showing, Claire?
Yeah. So I've been showing since I was in the fourth grade, because the first year they wouldn't let me show because the board members, so I should go. It's my first year. So I love being a Aqua Junior member. I have had so many friends along the way. So I have friends all across the United States, and all it takes is a phone call, and they would even come down here in a heartbeat if I needed help.
Hmm.
So I absolutely enjoy that.
Sounds like a great
Yeah,
way.
that is one thing I'll say about the juniors. They all network together pretty well, even when they're not in at shows together. They're communicating over text and Snapchat and all that stuff that kids do now. But it is pretty neat that to see how they all keep in touch.
So, Claire, would you recommend someone your age or younger that was interested in getting involved? Would you recommend ACA Junior?
Yes, I would. Aqua Juniors are so very helpful to new members. They can be welcoming. Sometimes new members feel like we are just very tight knit, which we are. So sometimes they feel like they have a hard time blending in, but I'm like, you just are new, so just keep coming back, and we'll get to know you. But I have won scholarships from Aqua Juniors, so I go to Mr. McPeak's cattle camp, which is showmanship and fitting camp. And I went 2 years in a row, and my last year was for almost for free. The only thing I had to pay for was my rent calf, right?
Mhm.
And that was about it. So it's just really good. They do scholarships, and not very many people do the scholarships. So it's just a good way to earn extra money if you're thinking about going to college or doing anything else with your cattle.
Nice. That's awesome. I think we got our Aka Junior spokesperson right here. This is this is great. Well, very cool. Very cool. So guys, uh, this year went really well. It sounds like you had more entries probably than you expected, from what it sounds like, because you had well, you were the second largest, I believe is what you said, open show, or open, and but you said it took several years to get to that point of just talking to fair officials and going through ACA. Is that pretty normal, would you say, for, to get a show like this started to take that much time?
Oh no.
I honestly think it depends on the area of the country that you live in. I mean, you said it earlier, all the cows around here are black
Mhm.
and are on grain, and we were
Indeed.
somewhat of the oddity, even at some of these open jackpot shows that we go to. At first, we had to be pretty thick-skinned. I mean, the people just didn't understand the breed, so we'd get laughed at or silly questions. But then, as we got more into it and started getting better cattle, and we were actually able uh, to compete with some of these other breeds and get some recognition on the quality of that a Highland can be, and started placing. I think it opened up some eyes, uh, and probably opened up some doors as well. I mean, we're not getting the resistance like we were, but like I said, I think it depends on the area of the country you're in. In our area, yeah, there's been some resistance. We've heard every excuse why we can't. And we just try to be well informed and counter with why we think we can. One thing I will say is, with the horned cattle, I do feel like we're getting looked at a little closer. So I stress to my kids that we have to work with these cows every day. They have to be calm, uh, and just put your best foot forward, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great advice. That's great advice because, yeah, I'm sure they are scrutinizing you guys more, especially for being the first year. And then you got these big hairy animals with horns walking in the ring, and these, kids are showing them. And yeah, that's great advice. Be prepared, work with your animals, be the best showman you absolutely can. That's, that's, that's really great advice. I appreciate that. Well, guys. We've been going here for actually been going here for about 20 minutes. Um, what I'd like to do is pick your brains a little bit about, and I like to do this every episode. I got a question for you, and I'm not putting you on the spot because I already warned you. But what's some advice you'd give? And you guys can all chime in. Claire, if you've got some advice for younger showmen, younger cattlemen, Jason, Crystal, if you guys have advice, what's something that you would recommend? What's something that you would want to pass on to a new breeder or somebody who's thinking about getting into the Highland cattle world?
Do your research. For sure.
So we always tell people that are interested in Highlands to, the market's as high as it's ever been. But make sure you buy an ACA registered cow. You're going to get more bang for your buck. Um, you know, my family's interested in the show side of things. I'm more interested in like the breeding, the embryo, the artificial insemination. So if you have some recips, maybe look at an embryo. It's a more cost effective way to get into the breed. And the most expensive cow out there might not be the best cow for you. You got to decide what your goals are, and search accordingly. At first, my main goal was a docile calf because my kids were handling them. And then once we gained a little bit of experience, some of the more rowdy ones, we've learned to kind of tame those down a little bit and be able to work with them. But yeah, it's all in what your goals are.
That's
Do you
great
have
advice.
anything to add to that?
Um, I would say for the show side, definitely don't give up. You have to have thick skin. So I've been laughed at, I've been cussed at, I've been looked at funny, but I'm still the one that's promoting the breed. And I have all these people. I even have Kent Jenkins, like that has my heifer.
So one other thing that I'll add is don't be afraid to step in the show ring if you've never shown before. I will say one thing about this breed is it's a pretty tight knit group of people, and anybody is willing to help anybody out and offer some advice. So
Yep.
as an example, at our open show, we had a few families that showed up that just wanted to be part of it, that never shown anything before. They just wanted to be part of the experience, and we noticed from afar that everybody was kind of chipping in to give them pointers and letting them borrow blowers and just things like that. Don't be afraid.
I- You
That's
always
great
have
advice.
people behind your back, even if it's not in the Highland world. Just like I mentioned, Kent Jenkins, he promotes the Highland breed.
Mhm. That's great, guys. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Go through ACA, know what you're buying. I mean, that's huge. That's something that we've learned. That's great advice, Jason. And then Claire, you nailed it. I think we're just gonna come back and do a whole episode with Claire. Just a junior episode. We're just gonna turn her into the
Right.
Okay.
ACA junior spokesman there. So hopefully there's not already one out there. And I'm um, but guys,
Correct.
but guys, thank you so much. What I'd like to do is maybe come see you guys because you're not far from us. I'm always inviting myself places, but maybe we can do a podcast again someday, whether it's on Zoom or in person, or maybe we'll
Yeah.
see at a show.
You're welcome
Um,
anytime.
I did want to congratulate you guys on, successfully getting this inaugural in Indiana State Open Highland Show started and pushing for the junior show. And, obviously you guys made some major accomplishments at the show showing. And then I saw you guys were at the NCHCA recently and did well there. So, congratulations. And thank you guys again for your time sitting down with us and just sharing with our listeners, kind of where you've been and where you are today. And that helps people more than anything is, kind of like Claire was just encouraging people, and Jason and Crystal, you guys are just encouraging people. I mean, that's really at the end of the day what we need to do and what you guys are doing out there. So thanks again so much. Listeners, if you want to get a hold of us, feel free. Our email will be at the end of the episode. And you guys, if you want us to tag you guys at the end of the episode, we can do that as well. We can put your Facebook or
Sure.
your Facebook page or
Yeah,
whatever if people are.
we always welcome people to reach out, even if they don't buy a cow from us. We always tell people we're here to help. You just reach out and we'll guide you in any way that we can. Like, even if you're not buying a cow from us, like, we don't want you to make some of the same mistakes we did. And we want to be there to help you get the cow that you're looking
Yeah.
for or succeed in whatever you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And again, here in the Midwest, sometimes it's hard to find, Highland breeders. So we'll definitely, if you guys are good with it, we'll definitely have Kimber at the your Facebook page or any contact information you guys want at the end of this episode.
Sure.
But Thanks again, guys. I think we did it. I think we did a great job. I think another successful podcast is in the books. Thanks to you guys.
Thanks for having us.